Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. I am Bishara Hussain from Rehende School. Topic for today's lesson is international economy. Before we discuss about today's lesson, let us look at about the learning intention of the lesson. First, we will be concentrating on the concept of globalization and reason for it. Also, we will be identifying the opportunities and threats of globalization for the business, why governments might want to introduce import tariffs and quotas. Students, have you ever purchased any goods or good on internet? I know that you guys are not earning anything, but then you might be helping your parents to purchase some of the goods on internet. Or else you might be seeing your sisters and brothers purchasing goods online. Yes, that's what we are going to talk about. There we are. Nowadays, goods and services may be produced in one particular country and those goods are sold in other countries. That is today's our lesson, globalization. It is the term now widely used to describe increases in worldwide trade and movement of people and capital between the countries. Day by day, the whole community is depending on globalization. We are purchasing goods from one country to another. As we are getting familiar about purchasing procedures and how to purchase goods from one country to another, we are depending on international trade or globalization. So basically, it provides or it gives so many reasons why globalization is increasing. Let us look at increase in numbers of free trade agreements and economic union between countries. That helps to reduce protection for industries, fewer more import controls such as tariffs. Let us look at about the reasons why globalization is improving. Like for example, it is increase in numbers of free trade agreements and economic union between countries by reducing protection for industries and also few or no import controls such as tariffs. If you look at about the global world, we can see so many trade unions and trade blocs which helps to improve the trade between different countries. Like for example, NAFTA, ASEAN, European Free Trade Association, likewise so many other. If you look at about our own region, we have even SAFTA. All these countries are trying to help maximum to their businesses to improve, to develop and also get the opportunities to develop their businesses. Another reason might be improved and cheaper travel links and communication between all parts of the world. Transportation is becoming easier and easier every day. Transportation system between the countries is becoming more and more efficient. It is becoming faster and faster every day. And because of that, globalization has improved. Another one is the technology. Because of the technology or internet, we are able to compare the prices of the goods. We always go for the cheapest goods, aren't we? Through the internet, we can compare the prices of different companies in different parts of the world. And as transportation is really easy, now we can purchase those goods from anywhere after comparing the prices of the goods. And that also had led to increase the globalization. And placing order from one country to another is very much easier because now we have so many websites, so many different new ways. It's not only just to send in a catalog to another country, but we have email, we have different websites prepared by different businesses, and the businesses is identifying or trying to identify which is the easiest way for the customers and trying to simplify those procedures as much as possible for the customers. Another reason might be many emerging market countries are industrializing very rapidly. Each and every day with the increase in competition, the countries are trying to be more developed or they are trying to improve their economy day by day. they are giving so much emphasis, so much importance to improve their GDP. And because of these things, again, it provides a lot of opportunities for the businesses. And they have found that globalization would be one of the best method, and that also helps to improve the globalization. Along with the reasons, let us look at about the opportunities it provides for the businesses. If you look at about the opportunities, start setting exports to other countries, opening up foreign markets. That means when there is a larger market, that means the business is having the opportunity to increase its potential sales. Like for example, as I discussed earlier, it makes for the customers to place the orders much more easily, and that particular opportunity provides huge market for the businesses. But then again, the businesses might have to think about if the particular product would be expensive to sell in abroad or not. And also they may have to think about whether the foreign customers would like the product or not. The product might be very famous in the home country, but might not be liked by the customers in the foreign markets. It might be due to several reasons, like for example, cultural differences, lifestyle, or even for example, the prices of the goods. Another opportunity globalization provides to customer is it helps for the businesses to open factories and operate in other countries. That means there we are talking about multinational companies. Let us look at about Maldives. Here also we have so many multinational companies. Here also we have so many international brands, like for example Hilton, Four Seasons, and these are some of the famous brands that we hear in every part of the world. It could be cheaper to make some goods in other countries than at home. Again, something that we have to think about. A huge benefit which is provided to the business. Like for example, let us look at about raw materials. In our home country, the raw material might be very expensive, while it might be very cheaper in another country. So basically, the globalization provides the chance for us to move in that particular country and carry out the business there. And another one might be labor force. The wage rate in the country, in our home country, might be very expensive, especially in developed countries. Wage rate is really high, and because of that, most of the European countries prefer to set their business organizations in Asian countries where the living standard is lower, so that they could reduce the production cost by giving a lower wage rate to their employees. There they get the advantage of reduction in production cost as well as be more competitive in the market. But then again, we have to think about the quality of the raw materials or quality of the goods that we are going to produce. And another one is it ethical? What we are practicing in our business, is it ethical? If, for example, if we are hiring employees at a very lower wage rate, it might be unethical, and ultimately it may have a negative impact on the brand image of the business. These are also some of the things that we have to think about it. Some of the businesses might not have sufficient funds to produce goods and services or to establish a huge factory. Globalization has provided opportunities for these businesses as well by providing a chance for them to import products from other countries and then selling the goods to home country. Especially if there is no trade restrictions, importing goods at times is very cheap, and this provides a huge opportunity for the business and especially to be more competitive. But then again, the business have to think about if the supplier will be able to provide components or repair facilities for the particular product. If not, the customer may find it very expensive, because if the product is damaged once, they will not be able to use the particular product again. So they may move to their competitors. import materials and components from other countries but still produce final good in home country. Let us look at about Maldives. Some of the canning factories in Maldives, they are canning or processing fish in Maldives. But let us look at about how they are carrying out it. The only raw material which is available within our countries might be fish. Other than the steel sheets they use, even the small amount of oil they add into that particular canned fishes are also imported. So, however, globalization helps these kind of businesses as well to import the materials and still produce the goods and sell to their customers, even export to foreign markets. It could be cheaper to purchase these supplies from other countries now that there is free trade. This will help to reduce the cost. These supplies could be purchased online. But then again, the business have to think about its suppliers, like whether the supplier is reliable or not, whether the transportation cost is cheaper or not. For example, if the supplier is not reliable, we may not be able to get the raw materials on time. That means production would become slow, or we may not be able to even start the production for or carry out the production for a long period of time. And then if the transportation system is not that efficient or cheap, again production cost will increase. So, these things the business have to consider. Along with the opportunities, globalization has provided some threats to the business as well. Like, let's look at about the threats. Increase in imports into home market from foreign competitors. The thing is, if the competitor offer cheaper products or higher quality, sales of local business may fail. That means the imported goods might be really cheap. As customers, we always prefer the cheaper one, especially if the product is quality. That means because of these multinational companies or foreign products, our local suppliers might face a lot of challenges, and even they may have to go out of the business. But then again, the increased competition could force the local business to become more efficient. If the business want to survive in the market, especially when there is a globalization, they have to think about so many ways that they could be competitive enough. And trying to be more competitive, they have to think about ways to be more efficient. There, the business is able to identify a better business or company. Another threat might be increase in invest from multinational to set up operations in home country. That means in our own country, the multinational may prefer to invest in our own country. This will create further competition, and the multinational may have economies of scale and be able to afford the best employees. Basically, these multinational companies have all the resources. So, they can take advantage of that, like having enough or sufficient amount of finance. When they can offer attractive pay for the employees, everyone will prefer to go there. That means the local businesses may lose some of their most efficient workers. The other thing is the local firms may have to constantly try to retain their employees by providing more attractive pay, better working condition, and for example, better fringe benefits and so on. And these things would increase the production cost of the business. That means again, it's a chance for the business to be less competitive compared with the multinationals in the home country. Another huge problem because of globalization, that is, employees may leave the business that cannot bear the same or more than international competitors. Day by day, our expenses are increasing. So, for most of the people, one of the main attraction is the high pay paid by different or offered by different organizations. So, the local businesses again may lose their best employees. In some professions, employees will now have more choices about where they work and for which business. Business will have to make efforts to keep their best employees. That means now we have so many choices. We don't consider anymore where we will be working or in which company we would be working. But it's rather than that, the company which offers at most attractive pay or better choices for us, we go there. And because of that, the local businesses have to try a lot to retain their employees. In some professions, employees will now have more choices about where they work and for which businesses they work. We normally, especially now, we don't consider now where we will be working or in which company we are going to work. But then rather than that, it's about who offers us best choices, more attractive pay, better working condition. We go for there. Doesn't matter which country and where and at what time. Because of that, the local businesses have to pay a lot to retain their employees. Otherwise, the thing is, the labor turnover for the business might be really high, and they may have to pay a lot for recruitments and provide training for the business, leading to reduce the efficiency. But then this may encourage local business to use a range of motivational methods to keep their workers. Basically, it's a huge advantage for the workers. When the employees are more motivated, the efficiency and effectiveness of the business will increase. Ultimately, the quality of the products and services they offer to customers will be high. However, the cost might be really high in this case. We have learned a lot about globalization. If you look at about the advantages, it has led more choices for customers, lower prices, and also introduced new techniques, new technology, and that helps to increase the efficiency of the business. And also, we have learned that it has provided a huge scope for the businesses to expand their operations. Like for example, let us look at about Starbucks. If you look at about Starbucks, we can find their branches in 30,000 locations. Think about the opportunity the globalization has provided for the businesses. They are earning a lot each and every day. We have to think about the risks as well. Like for example, people in home country may lose their jobs, environmental damages, loss of individual cultures, or basically damage in the culture of our own country. For example, if you look at about Maldives, that's one good example. And also increase fear of takeover for local businesses. That means basically, as governments, now they can no longer protect their own industries against foreign competition. This process can lead serious economic and social problems. They are the government to introduce imports and quotas. Basically, even though they are unable to totally protect the local infant, especially infant businesses, they are trying their maximum to protect their businesses. By looking at tariffs and quotas, why government may introduce these two? Or why government might introduce import tariffs and import quotas? They are a form of protectionisms to protect domestic industries from competition that may otherwise close them down. Tariff. It is an import tax put on the imported goods when they arrive into the country. This leads to increase the price of the imported goods. That means basically those businesses become less competitive. When there is a tax that the business have to pay for the imported goods, the prices of those goods will increase. That means compared to local businesses, their competitiveness will reduce. That means the local businesses have better chances of offering lower prices for the customers. And the next one is quota. Import quota is a regulation which limits the import of goods to a certain fixed quantity. That means there is a maximum limit the country can import those particular goods, and this has led the particular product less available for the local customer. Import quota is a regulation which limits the import of goods to a certain fixed quantity. That means there is a specific limit or maximum limit the particular country can import those particular goods to the country. That means those imported goods will be less available, means basically prices will increase. Let us look at about vehicles in Maldives. We are importing all kinds of vehicles to Maldives, and then government is charging such a high tax rate. But still the thing is, since it is not available within the country, or the limit is very less, the demand is really high, and people are paying, or customers are still ready to pay such a high price for those vehicles. That is a good example of this one. Anyways, both tariff and quota helps local businesses or local firms to be more competitive, and government is trying to protect these businesses with the help of these two measures. Okay students, that's all for today. Don't forget to wash your hands and stay safe. That means stay indoors. Hope to see you soon again with another lesson. Thank you.